Okay.
Okay. Good morning. The Long-Term Care Administrators Board meeting is convening at 9:02 a.m. on March 6, 2026. This meeting is being held in person and through Zoom. That's new. Video conferencing and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. I will now call roll. Tanya Hoskins, not in attendance?
Correct.
Okay. Carol Hankins,
Speaking. Here.
David Lewis,
Here.
Drasti Patel,
Here.
Jocelyn Cook. Not here yet.
She's not here yet, but
Okay.
supposedly is going to be coming.
Okay. Emily Morgan.
Here.
And Corey Krisman.
Here.
Wonderful. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. Board members are asked to not use the chat feature during meetings. The Health Licensing Office asks that individuals attending through Zoom keep their phones muted and cameras off during the entire meeting or until they are given the opportunity to comment during public and interested parties feedback period, if indicated on the agenda. Public comment is limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda, or topics relevant to what this board is statutory authority to regulate. Public members wishing to speak, please sign in on the roster sheet available in the room or email Josh Page at josh.page, P-A-G-E, at oha.oregon.gov and provide your first and last name. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board business.
And then Jocelyn did join.
Jocelyn Cook. We were just taking roll.
And I don't think you called yourself Maggie.
Oh, Maggie Hilty here.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys.
This is Ann. Did we hear from Jocelyn? Sorry, my microphone was weird. This is Jocelyn Cook, present.
Excellent. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Okay. Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. Bob Bothwell with HLO, and first item on the agenda that we need to take care of, besides call to order, is approval of the agenda. If we can get a board member other than Maggie.
This is Carol Hankins. I so move.
Second, David Lewis. Second.
Perfect. We will now take a vote to approve the agenda. Carol Hankins?
Oops. Aye.
David Lewis?
Aye.
Drasti Patel?
Aye.
Jocelyn Cook? I'll loop back to you. Emily Morgan?
Aye.
Corey Krisman?
Aye.
Maggie Hilty? Aye. And looping back around for Jocelyn?
I'm here. My external speakers, I plugged in something different. Now I'm here and I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. So we need a yay or nay on the agenda from you.
Yay.
Perfect.
Okay. Excellent. It's Bob again. Chrissy, you are up for the first part of the director's agenda.
Oh, lucky
Director's
me.
report.
Good morning. Happy Friday. This is Chrissy. We are in a new year. So if you are on slide 8, if you're following along, at the top of slide 8, we have a bunch of trainings that we'll need to redo again this year. Those were all conducted through your Workday. So if you need any help with getting into Workday, please contact me and I can get you logged in. And then we'll just go quickly through the board membership. We have Maggie Hilty in her second term that expires this year of September 2026. Maggie, while I'm on the subject, if we are not able to fill your seat in time, are you willing to serve until replaced?
Oh, sure. You guys aren't tired of me yet? I'm just kidding. Yes, absolutely.
Great, thank you. And then we have Jocelyn Cook in her second term, which expires in June of 2028, cannot reappoint. We have Corey Chrisman in his first term, expires of June of this year, can reappoint. And I do believe I reached out to you yesterday, Corey, for reappointment steps. So be on the lookout for that email. And then we have David Lewis in his first term, expires in June of 2027, can reappoint. We have Drasi Patel in her second term, expires in June of 2028, cannot reappoint. Emily Morgan in her first term, expires June of 2027, can reappoint. Carol Hankins in her second term, expires June of 2028, cannot reappoint. And then we have Tanya Clark in her first term, expires June of 2028, and can reappoint. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Happy Friday, everyone.
Thank you, Chrissy. Okay, moving on. If chair is ready, this is Bob again. Um, on slide 11, if you're following along, in quarter three of 2026, we've issued two permanent administrator licenses. And in the same quarter, three of 2026, we've issued 17 residential care administrator license. Licenses renewed. We've had 28 renew by paper, online, and 11 by paper. And quick math, that's 39. For quarter three have renewed. Residential care administrators, we've had 63 renew online, 29 on paper. Those numbers are too big for me to do in my head. And a permanent nursing home administrator licensed by age and gender. It is a young up-and-coming profession. We do have one between the age of 18 and 25 that maintain a license, and we have 6 between 74 and 81 that continue to maintain a license. Residential care administrator, same thing. We have between 18 and 25, we have 18 with licenses, and we have some folks between 74 and 81, two of them that still maintain a license. AITs, this ebbs and flows, and currently we stand at 22%, an average, 22 as an average as of quarter three. So I'd expect that to continue to grow. In this current fiscal year, nursing home administrators, same thing, ebbs and flows. We currently sit with an average of 356 in quarter three of 2026. Administrators, residential care administrators, 1,029 in this same quarter. And that trajectory, it looks like it continues to grow. Fiscal report, this board sits pretty good. We had a beginning cash balance of $1,042,266, a revenue of $150,526, expenses of $90,476, and net operations of $60,050, with an ending cash balance of $1,102,316. And those stats come to us as of February 27 of this year. Any questions on the director's report? Okay. You guys are making this Friday easy. Trampus, are you there?
I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So this is Trampus. I'm the regulatory manager here at the Health Licensing Office, and I'm here to talk about the regulatory report. The report is a little bit different this time. It's split up onto a couple of different pages. So to really get the full picture, you kind of got to look at all three of them. The first page and the second page are specific to open complaints and closed complaints. So we've got 3 bienniums still showing up on this report. We've got the 2023 biennium, the 2025 biennium, and the 2027 biennium, which is the one that we're currently in. We're about 9 months now into that biennium. So we're not halfway through yet. we're a little over a quarter, maybe about a third of the way through. So what you're seeing here is the open complaints on that first page, on page 22, I believe, of the documents. You can see that of the 2023 cases, which are the kind of the older group, we're seeing about 14 still being open. I can tell you some of those are in various states of closure, but they just haven't tipped over to that side where they're closed. So they're investigated, but they're waiting for some legal process or, that kind of thing. But, there still are a few hanging on to that biennium. The 2025 biennium, we got 28, and the 2027 biennium, we've got 31 still open. I can tell you that's a pretty large number for 2027. When we go down to the next page, which is 23, you see the closed cases. And you see that in that biennium, that 2023 biennium, we had 57 closed. In the 2025 biennium, we have 22 closed. And then the 2027, there are 3 closed. But to get a real picture of the kind of the number of overall complaints that we've got going on, you go down to that next slide, which kind of gives us the totals. And that kind of puts everything into perspective. The 2023 biennium, which that 2-year period, we had 71 complaints come in that time frame. That's a lot of complaints. It's a high number of complaints. The 2025 biennium, the biennium that we just finished, for example, we only had 50 come in. So, and then this year, I feel like, or this biennium that we're in so far has been a really heavy year in that we've received 34 complaints, and that's 34 complaints in the last 9 months. Whereas those other numbers that you're looking at, the 2023 biennium, the 2025 biennium, that's for a 2-year period. So you pretty much take that 34. If that trend's continued, you could multiply that by 3, So we've had a lot of complaints come in this year with this group. I'm not sure if this is going to be a trend or just a bump. We're going to be keeping an eye on that, and we'll have to allocate resources as necessary to take care of that. We've got some other things going on in the regulatory department with this group. I have been in the middle of trying to get, I have 2 SMEs coming on to help us out with cases and just other things around the agency as well, but mostly with cases. Contract has taken just a little bit longer for some reason. I don't know if they're real busy or what's going on the contract end, but it's taking a little longer than I had hoped. But I assume that they'll be on shortly, and that will also help us out with a few more of the complicated cases that we sometimes have to take on. So, but that's the overall picture for those 3 biennium. Like I said, this biennium isn't finished yet. We're only 9 months into this current one, but for the 3, we're at 155 complaints. So yeah, like I said, we've kind of had a little bit of extra complaints for this group. I don't know. I didn't look back too far historically to see if those are if where we are yet. But like I said, we'll be watching it carefully and trying to figure out how to allocate resources if necessary to handle a bump. But yeah, and then the complaints by type is the last little piece in there. You can see that almost all of the complaints that come in here are from an outside source. A couple of them are anonymous. It's pretty rare, but they come in. And then 6 were from actual like clients or whatnot. So the other is a pretty broad category, but I can tell you that a large portion of these complaints for nursing home administrators and residential care come over from survey teams. So
Grandpa's chair has her hand up.
Yeah. I just wanted to finish off that thought, and then I was going to grab her. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of the vast majority of them, but there are other sources. What's up, Maggie?
Hi. Okay, this is Maggie. A question, and 2 questions actually. Can someone remind me, when did we start licensing RCF admins? Is it like 20?
This is Maggie. CF admins?
The residential care.
Oh, residential care. Let me look that up for you.
Because more because I was trying to figure out if that was some of the trajectory though, like on the 71 year. I couldn't remember. But the actual question, Travis, for you is on the last page of your 3 or 4 pages, the open for failure to meet CE audit regulatory requirements, because 23 of the 34 are that. Were we not doing those or tracking those prior to this biennium, and that's why there's no historic, because I mean that's a big number of those 34, which again necessary to for us to be doing that, but I was
Right.
just curious.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So those, yeah, I kind of breezed right over that. I apologize for that. But yeah, the CE hours, a large portion of the ones that we have in recorded right now are for those CE hours, and that is a bump. I think that maybe there hadn't been a lot of CE audits going on over the last couple of years, and we're kind of getting back into that process. So I think that there was kind of a revigoration of that program. So yeah, that is new. That does explain kind of where we are for this particular biennium. But you know, I'm hoping that we'll kind of, I think historically we were in the 40 to 50 range for the biennium cases, and the that 2023 may have been an anomaly, and that also that's a good observation. That could have been also partly because of bringing on the residential care extra licensees. We do get a handful of that are just the residential care, and I think that you can see on the on the more detailed breakdowns for closed versus open. You can see how many are nursing home administrators and how many are residential care administrators. And, unfortunately, there's no total. It's not broken down on the total complaints as to how many of them, but, you can kind of do the math and see where we are on that. There's a lot more residential care administrators than there are nursing home administrators. So,
which also might track because of the licensing count, like but what we were just going through with Bob, like there's a huge growth in the number of licensee holders on the RCF side. But I was just curious. Yeah, I was just clarifying questions because I like the flow of this now. It actually makes a little bit more sense to me, just of note. And I think it paints a good picture of like the process in the bienniums. And what is trending, like the CE one. It's interesting. The 23. There's 23.
Yeah.
And
If I can speak up for a moment, this is David Lewis. The 2023 would include 2021, so we were still in pandemic during that time, and I think that may play into some of the complaints right after that, just chronologically.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's another good observation to make, that we were on the tail end of, we're not in the tail end, but we were still in the fairly thick of it at the beginning of that biennium. What's up, Ann?
Thank you, Chair, and members of the board. This is Ann Thompson, and I did a little quick research, and the bill that remade the board and created the residential care facility administrator license passed in 2018. Rules went into effect. The bill went into effect July of 2019. But for customer service purposes, our rules went into effect in May of 2019.
And it was mandatory that they be licensed at,
That's correct. That's correct. And there was, it was kind of an interesting rollout. There were carve outs for people that were already practicing.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they didn't have any findings and they kept up, because this used to be a registry. If I can get in the Wayback Machine a little bit, Trampus and board members, this used to be a registry with DHS where they had continuing education requirements, but DHS didn't have any regulatory teeth. And the legislature decided that they wanted more of a structure around this profession. And so they allowed a carve out for existing practitioners who were in good standing. They'd never had a finding at one of their facilities, and they were keeping up with their CEs, even though DHS had no ability to sanction them. They could just straight away get registered. No problem. Here's your license. People who did have a finding or did not keep up with their CEs had got what was called a provisional, where they could keep practicing, but then they had to take the exam, which Trampus actually worked on in order to get a full license. So that was sort of the rollout on that.
Yeah, and that actually makes sense too, because it kind of lines up with the times. Because if you'll notice, the number of unlicensed administrators, and I think maybe that unlicensed nursing home administrator, that's probably it. I can tell you that we have like one unlicensed nursing home administrator, and it encompasses all the different licenses, so residential care and nursing home, and you can see that there was a bump in that 2023 biennium of unlicensed people being complained on because they were unlicensed. So that makes sense when you're bringing on a new licensing type over the next couple of years or so. You're going to need a bump in that type of activity, as well as a bump in. So like I said, I mean, this could just be a bump, and I think that we'll go up to a new normal with the extra licensing group that we have. But yeah, so I don't foresee it being a huge problem, or a huge like a skyrocketing trend or anything like that. But it is something we'll keep an eye on, and as we move forward in our regulatory world here. So, did anybody have any more questions regarding the regulatory report, or anything that has to do with investigations public kind of stuff that has to do with investigations or regulatory process? No?
Okay.
All right. Well, then I'll go away and you guys
We'll
can
see
go
you in a
on.
few minutes.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, Chair, and if you're ready to roll on, we are on slide 25, the policy report, and we have Ann here, and she's got a little update for us.
Thanks, Bob. Again, this is Ann Thompson. I wanted to call your attention to we are about to finish legislative session could end today, could end tomorrow. It has to legally end Monday. And there was a bill that popped up this session that does impact this board in a minor way. I'm not going to ask you to read this, as House Bill 4040 is what we call in the business a housekeeping bill. It has lots of little fixes for lots of people. If you want to get to your section, go to slide 28. I'd call your attention to section 2. And if you notice, it looks like, well, there's not much going on in here, but I will call your attention if you scroll down to slide 29. This has to do, they're making a small change. I'm not exactly sure who brought this forward. As we're the executive branch, we do what we're told. We don't always get involved in legislation other than just to provide technical expertise. But Section 2 does make a small change to residential care facility administrator licensing. And currently, if you look at Big B, we require someone to, as an option for licensing, to have at least a bachelor's degree in a health or social service related field. And if you'll notice, there are square brackets, and the words in a health or social service related field are italic. And that means the bill is taking that out. And what that means for your board is starting on January 1, 2027, a person who is applying can use the bachelor's degree pathway with many broader options. They can have a bachelor's degree in anything. It doesn't have to be in a health or social service related field. And that means applicants have a much broader way to get through. And this particular bill, I gave you the A in gross version. As it traipses its way through the legislative session, I believe, Bob may correct me on this, but various parts of this bill, we had 37 amendments that I tracked last time, none of which changed your section. And that's good. When it makes it through one side, it goes to the other side, starts on the House, goes to the Senate. It's gone be engrossed, and it's gone all the way through the process as of about 5:40 last night. That means this thing is done, and it's going to the governor's desk. Now, whether she signs it or not, if she lets it sit there for a while, it'll become law without her signature. Either way, we'll probably start working on this late summer or in the fall, and hopefully at your fall meeting, I'll bring you a proposed rule. It's really easy and non-controversial. You're just striking something. It's It's not a big deal, but we may have to add a short meeting at the end of the year to adopt permanent rules because we still have to go through the rulemaking process. And that has, it has to go out for public comment. We're not going to have a rules advisory committee because we're just making the change the statute makes. We're not adding anything, or there's nothing controversial. And we'll probably have to bring you in for a short meeting just to adopt the permanent rule. But that will go into effect on January 1st, 2027. That's the only thing that I saw changing your board or its statutes specifically. There was a lot of stuff out there about healthcare, but this was the only thing I thought worth bringing to you, and I sure didn't want you to have to read the whole thing. So that's it. Does anybody have any questions? I'm not seeing anybody's hand. So back to you, Bob.
Thanks, Ann.
Mhm.
Almost sounds like a newscast.
I know.
Anyway,
AHLO.
yeah, never a dull moment. This is Bob. So if there's no questions on the bill that Ann just presented, we are moving on to slide 97, and we're going to discuss some applications. And we have Derek Fultz, who I believe was going to go over these with you. Or no, I'm sorry. Is Michael on? Michael Brennan.
Yes, he is. Just give him.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hey, good morning, Michael.
Morning.
You want to
All right.
introduce yourself real quick to the board so they know who they're talking to, please?
Yeah, my name is Michael Brennan. I'm the licensing specialist for this board. And yeah, so we just have a couple of apps that I was kind of wanting to go over some of the experience on to see if it's qualifying as health or social service related professional managerial experience. It always seems like once a board meeting's coming up, I start getting kind of fringe experience. So I have the benefit of the board to kind of look for some guidance.
So, if you need some assistance, Michael, let us know.
Yeah, I'm just
we're on-
scrolling here. Sorry, I just got
Okay.
back to my desk.
Okay, 97 is the page.
Okay, so we got this one here. Looks like it's the Great Lakes. Yeah, so this one is physical therapy front desk followed by lead surgery scheduler.
This is Anne. If I might, Michael and Bob, if you could indulge me, these are all, as I understand it, let's give some context to the board. These are people that are trying to qualify, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, with a combination of experience, the education and experience in this, or are they trying to get the 2 years of management or professional? You might want to kind of give the board the qualification pathway that they're seeking so they can measure the experience.
Yeah, these are all RCF applications coming in with 2 years of experience. And most of these have other experience that I'm not listing here, but these pieces of it, or this particular experience for these individuals is going to be required to be approved for them to obtain a license in order to hit that 2-year mark.
This is Ann, Michael, and this is the 2 years of professional or management experience. So this is high level in a health or social service related field, correct?
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you.
This is Maggie Hilty. One more clarifying question, and thank you, Anne. I had the same request of clarification. Are there definitions or like guidance around how managerial or professional? I guess that's my question. It's like professional experience.
This is Ann, Maggie. If it's helpful, when this bill went through, and whenever we have a gray area like this, it's hard. But the intent of this language was this was high level, right? This is not somebody, and I'm using real examples, who manages the family budget. So they consider themselves a fiscal manager. The intent of this was high level professional or management experience in a health or social service related field. People who have qualified using this in the past have owned a business that provided in-home care. So these are not entry level positions that the bill's intent was focusing on. Is that helpful?
That is very helpful clarification. Thank you.
David.
Yes, going forward, it might be helpful when this is sent out if we know that each one of these letters is a separate application because we redact the names. We then don't have any way to know if there are two letters that are combined for one person or each one is separate.
I
That is
own
a
that.
superb suggestion.
I own that. I did the redaction and I added, well, the next one, I added the app number to it. And looks like I neglected to add the app number to the rest of them. So yeah, they are all separate.
Thank you.
Michael.
Yeah, and so with residential care, I'd say probably 90% or better are coming in strictly with experience. And so, yeah, if we could get some more insight as to what experience would qualify, because as it is in the rules, it's not entirely clear.
This is Anne. In support of what you're saying, Michael, it's always tough, and the board has had to deal with this before, when there are very clear things like 18 years, high school diploma, easy to prove, easy to deal with, right? You have a bachelor's degree, well, right now it's still health or social service related field. Whenever the statute gives us one of these catch-all categories, and they say, or any combination of education and experience, the board or the office or both deem sufficient. So you have to, unfortunately, this is the gray areas that your expertise is going to have to help us navigate. And in addition, it's okay to say no. It's okay to ask for more information, but you have to look at what this person is submitting and ask yourself, does this person have significant and sufficient experience to navigate and succeed in a residential care facility setting? Because you're the experts, you know the skill sets that are required for that. So if they don't give enough, if they don't have enough time, this is the time to think about it and talk about it. And the more you can discuss your reasoning, the more helpful that is to Michael going forward and all of us so that we can be consistent with applicants that have similar gray area experience. Is that helpful?
This is Maggie. Yes. One final clarifying question. We are only talking about these here, not in executive session, so we should have the full-on discussion right now.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank
and
you.
thank you for asking. The reason we want to have this, there are certain times in the past, your mind is extremely sharp, you probably remember, there were some things that we had to discuss in executive session, and those were items that were protected by a federal confidentiality law called FERPA, where there are certain pieces of information that should not be shown in a public setting. The reason we're redacting this, and we want to have a robust conversation in the public, is so that, number one, these applicants and any applicants going forward can hear your reasoning, can hear your discussion, so that if they have a similar issue and they're denied, we can say this is consistent. The board said this was your area that was deficient, or this was sufficient, and this is why. And that's why we want you to talk with each other, reason it out, ask questions in a public setting. We're not revealing any information that could be embarrassing or any personal information out there. We're mainly just discussing the experience on its own against the standard for a license.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, other board members, do you guys want to discuss each one like individually? Like I'm looking at page 97 right now. It's the first one in this application section. And my initial thought around this, under the clarification of all the questions we kind of just went through, is that for me, this does not meet what I would consider professional or managerial experience. It's definitely a type of support position, but it definitely reads very clerical, scheduling is not something that I would consider professional or managerial, at least based off of this letter.
Maggie, I would completely concur and was about to say, but you said it much better.
Huh. Well, I get one a day.
And this is Ann again. I'm sorry. Michael, was there anything else? Am I doing the math wrong? Because I thought we're supposed to have 2 years and it doesn't look like there's 2 years there.
Yeah, there's not. This individual has other work experience, which is not in question, so I just didn't include it.
Oh, okay.
So
they're using this in conjunction with something else to get to the 2 years.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you very much.
And Michael, you included this because this is the most professional / managerial of the experience, correct?
It's actually not. So they're doing, I can't remember exactly what they're doing now, but it's definitely more high level than this. But they needed this in order to hit that 2-year mark.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
Michael, this is Tina. What is the other experience? What are they doing?
Oh, and boards, this is a licensing manager, Tina Russell, has joined us.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Currently working as a residential care coordinator.
And how long has this individual been doing this?
April of 2024.
So okay. I guess where my thought is now is that in 24 days, that individual hits what we would consider 2 years anyways. So for this applicant, I don't know that I would hold them back for this maybe not being as high level as we would expect, but I guess for clarifying, like if this was most of their experience, then I would say no, but we need this for 1 month to have her hit her 2 years.
More or less, I'm just trying to determine if this experience is qualifying.
Okay. Well, under that premise, I would not consider this professional or managerial experience based off of how we've defined it as high level, is my thought.
This is Carol, and I was wondering, since this person is so short of the minimum 2-year requirement, I agree that what's presented here is not should not be considered professional experience, but could they just be asked to wait until the 2 years of what they're currently doing is reached, and then they could get their license?
And that's normally what I would recommend to the applicants in the past. With this one, though, I was really just kind of looking for this position to be approved or denied.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're not voting on this. Like we're just like discussing this. I would say no for this type of role. Scheduler, if there was, and this is kind of moving ahead, but like on some of these other ones that are in here, there's like a full-on description of job duties, which is helpful when like kind of looking at whether or not, I mean, I haven't read through all of them entirely yet, but for this one, considering this is the only piece of information put in front of us, I would not consider this professional or managerial experience.
Are there times when you would think scheduling or front desk lead would be considered professional or managerial?
If they were directly overseeing a team, or like they had some type of, they were responsible, like I can tell by the way this was written, they like helped potentially with training other people that were going to be in the same position. It says, as well as providing training and accuracy to other employees of the duties of scheduling surgery. if they were overseeing that process or overseeing schedulers doing that process, I would consider it managerial. In this case, this is just training. You're training the new person, or helping with audits per se. But that would be my differentiator.
Chair, this is Bob, if I may. We will be voting on these. We'll just do a
Okay.
block with applicant. It'll be something as simple as with applicant 183627. The board recommends no, does not meet at this current time
Okay.
since they're close. And then the other ones, if they all meet, we'll just read them off the number and vote yay or yes or no.
Is there anyone on the board that disagrees with David and my and Carol's discussion around this first one?
This is Corey. No, I don't disagree with that.
Okay. Should we move on to the next one?
So this is Bob, did I understand no for the first one
I would say no.
at this time? Yeah,
Yeah, at
okay.
this time.
Yeah, Bob, if I may, this is Anne. I believe the sentiment was this type of experience does not meet the board's standard of professional or managerial experience, something like that.
Make a note. Okay.
All right. The next one, page 98 for us all. That's application 183710. And this person as health unit coordinator, mother baby unit, and interim coordinator of hospital transportation.
I don't know why I took the dates out. I apologize.
Yeah, that was my question, Bob, is if we knew how long this person did this job.
Michael, do you have that in front of you? And can you tell us the time frame? I would assume it's not 2 years since it's being brought to you.
Yeah, it's not 2 years. But they do have other experience that I'm not questioning, so I didn't include that.
The next pages, so like page 99, that is part of this one. This person's application, well, this application is page 98, 99. Like this job duty description. Here's my question. The job duty description goes with that letter, correct?
It does. It's quite a
Okay.
long job description with this particular one.
Okay.
So May 25th, 2022 to December 16, 2024.
That's 2 years.
This is David. In reading through, and this is my second time to read through it, it's very, very detailed and that's appreciated, but this to me still seems clerical and neither high professional nor managerial.
This is Drosty. I concur with what David said. Just looking through the job description, I know it has required qualifications, and it does require a degree or certification, but looking at the job description and what their task was, it doesn't align with the managerial experience.
This is Carol Hankins. I concur.
And I do as well. And I would concur for both the health unit coordinator job role that they have listed and the transportation coordinator job role, because there's two, I think, separate job duties or job descriptions like in this. And I would agree for both. Anyone who disagrees? And Michael, is our like outlining of why we feel that way clear for you?
Sorry, I've got a few things going on. So you guys are saying that this experience is good?
No.
No.
Not okay.
Yeah.
This is Ann, Maggie, and members of the board. From what I'm hearing is even though the job description was quite detailed and it seems like there's really two kind of avenues of work here that both sort of align with your more general clerical work and not higher level work. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yeah, I would say things that fall under clerical, uh, and lean, and the not necessarily the job title coordinator, but like very much just coordination of things for other people, reads more administrative support, executive assistant style, like those type of roles, I would just never put in that group.
Is it because of the lack of the decisioning component?
Decisioning component or like direct responsibility for
Outcomes.
like
Gotcha.
they're a piece of the process, not necessarily. Yeah.
Sorry, this is Emily Morgan. That was my question as well. Like, I would love a sort of a better definition of what is high level and managerial versus what is, does not meet that criteria. Because when I read through this at first, it seemed much more applicable than just like the scheduler. But if the definition is either being sort of held to account for outcomes or managing other people or I don't know what the criteria really is here.
And I guess because I believe I was the one that said manage other people. My comment about managing other people was more about like if someone's title is lead scheduler or like front desk lead, I think was one of the titles. When would that I mean, titles are so varyingly different across industries and companies and whatnot. So, like, when would a title like front desk lead, from my perspective, fall under like potentially managerial or professional? Would be that type of title and work experience, but like they are ultimately managing something and not just more leaning towards a receptionist when you have like a front desk lead. That was
I
my
mean,
people clarification, and that was on the last one.
okay.
Sorry for the group.
Yeah, that's what that was. You said people, and that's what I was saying. Managing people versus managing phone calls
Yes.
and calendars.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess this is Emily Morgan again. My question is under this one, it says, and the HUC, under the direct supervision of nurse manager or charge nurse, performs general non-clinical duties and specific services necessary to expedite the efficient functioning of the nursing unit consistent with, and then philosophy, goals, policies. So to me, that reads they are responsible for creating that outcome, that environment. And some of those under the list of duties, conduct safety, environment of care, surveillance. Those to me seem like more being responsible for outcome job titles or job duties. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about that.
Is this is under the health unit coordinator position or the transportation portion of their job?
The health unit coordinator,
Okay.
the HUC
And in reading this too, and now I'm thinking about something else, Michael, that you'd said, but in reading this too, this job in and of itself does read really similar to like an RCC in a facility. And I think if I remember correctly on that first application, the RCC position is considered professional or managerial as to the minimum requirements for the application. And this health unit coordinator position is very similar to how an RCC functions in a assisted living, memory care, etc. So now I'm thinking about that.
This is David Lewis. I'd like to interject that this is a job description and the wording of it is very, in some areas, nebulous, and I think tries to elevate the importance. Someone who does dishwashing at my community, I write them a birthday card every year, thanking them for making dinner a very special experience by having dishes clean. But at the end of the day, there's still a dishwasher. And I think in reading this, I think what Dr. Morgan's reading um, is some of that kind of thinking. And really, yes, they are responsible for the outcome of making sure the schedule works right, making sure that all the pencils are sharp, so to speak. But I don't see this as any kind of care planning and residential care coordination. There's nothing like that the RCC would do. And that to me is where a lot of the professionalism comes in with the individual care plan.
I guess I have a question. Have any of you had experience of working in a hospital and seeing what a huck does? Because I've had that experience, and I do think they're much more of a managerial person than a uh like a secretary or a coordinator. Um, just having lived the experience of working with them in the hospital.
And I would say I have not, but I've worked with many who have as well. So your direct experience though is very helpful. And while just continuing to read some of this stuff, I am leaning more now as we've had this discussion for the huck position specifically, that I would agree that it may meet the minimum, the definition of what we're looking for. And you're right, it's like under this conduct safety environment of care surveillance, so they're a part of that patient monitoring. I mean, some of this really is just coordination of stuff, but like as is, like I order the snacks at my office, like it doesn't mean that I'm not a manager. That under the presumption that like we consider RCC experience, like this to me is industry to industry comparable. How does some of the other people from the board feel about this health unit coordinator role meeting?
This is Jocelyn. After hearing Emily Morgan's perspective, I feel differently about it. Yeah, you're right, Maggie, that it is very similar to what an RCC role does. And even though I feel like we're tasked to go off of what the job description is saying and or what the candidate is attesting to on their application of what their job entails. And that we can't decide that based off of what we think the day-to-day looks like. Am I understand? I think that's where what we have to judge it off of, but maybe I'm off on that point.
Go ahead, Carol.
This is Carol. I would have spoken up earlier, but by the time I get the screen to show the full description, then I lose the ability to turn my voice on, hit the unmute. Anyway, as best I can recall, the description said under the supervision of, and then it lists two different positions. I guess that's my concern on this is if you're looking at it being a professional position, then it seems counterintuitive that it would be under the supervision of those two other positions.
I would, I mean, everyone has, I guess, and I'm just sure there's people that don't, but like most positions in any type of healthcare setting have some type of direct supervisor. So just because, let's say, my dietary manager's direct supervisor is the administrator, doesn't mean that the dietary manager position or the culinary director, whatever you want to call it, I wouldn't consider non-managerial, non-professional. So I guess under that type of assumption, just because this person reports to the nurse manager, charge nurse, to me doesn't necessarily mean that that role wouldn't be meeting those the broad definition of professional and managerial experience. Because it would be the same for an RCC, which is, I guess, what I keep going back to today. So sorry, apologies, my friends. But the RCC reports to, I mean, the DHS, the ED, whoever it is in the building. They're under the direct supervision of them, but they are still responsible for a wide majority of things similar to this position. That's how I read this.
Yeah, this is Emily Morgan. I would say the same thing. Like this is just to me a description of their hierarchy in terms of who they report to. I don't think it means that it means that they're not responsible for, you know, the outcomes of these duties. And again, it kind of comes back to like knowing sort of the role of what they're actually responsible for in terms of patient safety, experience, communication, efficiency on the nursing unit. Like those are their responsibilities. It's not that they're sharpening the pencils for someone who's responsible for those. They are really responsible for those outcomes.
And that is helpful.
This is David Lewis. Given Emily's experience in the hospital, which certainly is 1,000 times more than mine, I would change my opinion also and say that the unit clerk or the unit coordinator does qualify, not for managerial, but for professional.
All right. It sounds like for the most part, we're all in agreement on like this type of role. Actually, we might all be in agreement now. Anyone who disagrees with kind of that group consensus there? Before we move on to the next one.
One quick question. Does it require the transportation one to equal the 2 years? This is David Lewis.
I'd have to double check the dates, but I don't believe so. They're already in another role that does qualify. So I was just trying to make sure this one also did because they haven't hit the 2-year mark in the other role.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next one is applicant 185-050.
What page does that start on?
106.
Oh, weird. It doesn't have a number for me.
I know. I already admit
Oh,
I
sorry,
made a
sorry, Bob.
mistake.
Don't mean to call you out. Second time with the recording, we called out Bob. My bad. Okay, so page 106. This one is for job title, referral coordinator.
And Bob, are you able to see the dates of employment, or is that
No,
something Michael can provide?
I was going to call Michael out to provide us that
Okay.
while they're reading page 107.
Oh, I'm kind of liking this safety captain title.
Okay. So for this one, dates in this role was August of 2018 to December of 25.
Oh, a long time.
Yeah.
But does the experience meet the qualification?
Yeah.
And this is Anne. And Michael, was this the only job experience that this individual submitted?
No, but I didn't include the other experience because I didn't want to focus on it because I had no questions that it was qualifying.
Okay, excellent.
So for this one, whatever the number was, sorry, Bob. The the second page of this, or the letter, page 107 right now, and it starts talking about how they trained multiple referral coordinators from other specialties. So now they're cross department. They're like planning and executing on things under the safety captain role, maintaining law. Like, I think all in with this letter description, I would say that this meets criteria that would fall under professional manager, like whatever the titles are, uh, especially given that length of time. Thoughts from the group?
I did work as a referral coordinator in a physicians group. And at
Who is talking?
first, yeah, at first I thought no, but I feel like, yeah, reading the descriptions, there's a lot going on. And also, I feel like this kind of falls under us feeling like Huck, like a unit coordinator, qualifies. Therefore, this matches. And I know for myself, it's a lot of herding cats, which is also the day in the life of administrators. So.
Jocelyn, this is Anne. If you could be so kind as to just mention your name when you start.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Jocelyn
Cook.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the group want to lay an opinion down?
This is David Lewis. I'm in concurrence that with the additional duties in that letter, that this is professional. If it wasn't for that, I would have more question.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was just page 106, I would be leaning a different direction, but the other stuff definitely helps kind of give guidance to our opinion. Everyone in agreement? Take the silence as just like
affirmative.
Everyone's so in agreement they can't even say it. Yeah.
So just for my clarification, it's the training multiple referral coordinators that kind of push this over the edge.
It's the training multiple referral coordinators. It's the fact that there's whatever page it is, I think 107, they talk about like they're leading something, like they're leading the coordination of the yearly safety and fire drills. Like that's a really, I mean, it's an important task. Like you got to do that. So I think it's the elaboration of like things that really fell in this person's additional job duties, that not necessarily the title necessarily, the title and the clarification. So yeah, combination of everything on here.
All of this information, I'm very sure will help Michael.
Okay, good.
Moving
Sometimes
forward.
I feel like we're just jibber jabbering, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
no, it's
sometimes
definitely
I talk in half
helpful.
hyperbole.
For me, it's kind of hard to determine if particular positions are related to health or just adjacent to them. So this is very helpful.
Okay.
This is Jocelyn. Michael, I think for me too, with that safety captain, it's seeing like the, planned, executed, collaborated, are those action words that help for me kind of lean it towards qualifying versus just being told what to do in your job, like a task list, versus someone that is using critical thinking to push something forward.
Okay. This is Bob, and I think if there's no more questions on these,
Well, there's another one on here,
oh,
Bob.
there is another one.
It has an application number,
It does?
185207.
Nice. Thank you for the kudos, if that's what that was.
Yeah, that was kudos for you. The do just without knowing dates, without knowing anything else besides this letter. This one is for executive chef. I would say yes, based off of that as far as managerial. Also, Morningstar is a senior company anyway, so like that helps too. But like he managed kitchen staff, oversaw 10 to 15 team members. Like this just in and of itself for me would meet that criteria just in that first paragraph.
This
This
is
is
Ann. Do
David.
we have dates on this? Sorry, David.
No worries.
Go ahead and answer your question. Ask your question, David, while Michael's looking up the dates.
Because this is David Lewis, because this clearly has supervision and managerial experience. My question is, why did Michael bring this to us? I guess why was this a gray application?
Because we've had other executive chefs that have been denied previously. So I'm trying to look to see how this one would differentiate from those ones that have both been approved and denied.
Thank you, Michael. This is David again. And a lot of that has to do with whether it was a supervisory position or more of a culinary artist position.
This is Drosty, and if I recall this, I know we had an incident maybe last year where we had someone who was in a regional position that was denied because they were I can't remember everything, but I remember that there was an incident last year sometime, and there was someone in a regional capacity, and there was a job description which was very different than supervising someone in a community.
Okay, that's helpful because that's exactly the one that came to mind when this one came across my desk.
This is Jocelyn. Was that one for a skilled license or to qualify for AIT? I feel like it wasn't quite apples for apples. Maybe I'm incorrect.
It was for an RCF position as well. And
Oh,
if I
okay.
remember, their title was like Regional Director of Dining Services.
Gotcha. Okay.
Did I miss that meeting? I hope it did. I don't remember any of this. I'm like, we've done this before? I don't remember it. But I was like, yeah. Okay, Bob, we're both taking an L today. Okay. Is this next letter in it for that same one?
It is.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay. So it kind of sounds like we're all in agreement on this one. Unless anyone's not.
Looks like this is Bob. Looks like you are.
Woohoo.
So, Anne, correct me if I'm wrong. We do need to vote on these.
It would be very, very helpful.
No.
Oh,
Who
Kristen?
said no?
No vote.
Okay.
Who said no? I'm sorry. This is Bob.
Kristen.
Sorry, AAG Williams. The statute puts
Oh,
the authority for the decision on HLO.
I'm sorry. Kristen, go ahead.
Yeah, no vote is needed. The statute is deemed sufficient by the office.
Okay.
So just for
Michael,
my
did you get everything
clarification,
you needed?
yeah, so what should I be looking for if I get somebody with dining services experience?
Directly supervising others, directly responsible for departmental duties. Kind of that really, I mean, it was brief but really good. It's like being a chef, an artistry chef who's just, you're just cooking, like, you know, everyone's just cooking, versus being the executive chef that is managing the kitchen and the kitchen staff and the kitchen product. One meal, I'm responsible for just today's meals. I'm responsible for the outcomes of my team and the food we are serving. That's how I bucket it in my head.
Okay, so more supervision is kind of where we're leading.
Supervision, more critical thinking skills, more like long-term planning. Like you're not like in this one specifically, they call out
Yeah, food texture. This is Anne. The food texture and dietary plans kind of stood out to me. Therapeutic diets and regulatory policies tied to resident health outcomes.
And this is David Lewis. This particular candidate does have his CDM, his Certified Dietary Manager, and that is a significant milestone.
A good call out there too, David, because that CDM role is if someone carries a CDM and works as a CDM and has been doing this type of role in addition to being executive chef, I would almost that CDM role I would consider professional in and of itself.
Okay. And that CDM is a what
certified
David say?
dietary manager. It's a type
Okay.
of credential, it's not a license. It's a type of
Credentialing.
credentialing.
Okay.
Certification. There you go. Credentialing. That facilities are required to have for people that are overseeing their kitchen. At least in skilled. I would assume the same in RCF, but at least in skilled.
This is Carol. I've just spent the last, I don't know how many minutes trying to be able to find where I could flip on my speaker again. So to me, it's important that it's said that this was a supervisory leadership role and oversaw approximately 10 to 15 culinary team members per shift. And just as an aside, I do remember that we had dietary person in a previous meeting and that we had said no to them, but this one is apparently different because it says supervisory leadership role and managed and oversaw other team members.
Exactly. Okay. So no vote, and we can move on to slide 115. Chair, and this is Bob to identify myself for the record, and we're in public and interested parties feedback.
Okay. At this time, the Long-Term Care Administrators Board will hear public and interested parties feedback. I'm doing this part now, right? This is what you want me to do? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm off my game. Public comment is limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda or topics relevant to what this board has the statutory authority to regulate. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes and will not be allowed if they are disruptive to the board's conduct of its business. If you are called on to comment, HLO staff will request that the public members to unmute themselves. The chairperson and HLO reserve the right to end a person's comment early and have HLO staff mute the public member if the comment does not pertain to matters listed on the meeting agenda or topics relevant to what this board has the statutory authority to regulate. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment? If so, please raise your hand or use Zoom raise hand feature and wait to be acknowledged.
I'm not sure. I only see one person that could possibly be public, and I'm not seeing their hand up. Josh, are you seeing any hands up?
I am not seeing any hands up, and I did not get any emails about public comment, so we should be good.
Okay. Well, then, Chair, this is Bob. If you're ready to move on to slide 116, since there is no public comment at this time, we will move into executive session.
All right. Okay, well, the Long-Term Care Administrators Board will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660(2) little f and ORS 676.595 for the purpose of considering information or records that are exempt by law for public disclosure at 10:17 a.m. on March 6, 2026. Representative of the news media shall be allowed to attend executive session. Audience members attending through Zoom will now be moved into a separate breakout room, and the audience members attending in person are asked to leave the room, both for the duration of executive session. Those authorized to attend the executive session, please continue to keep your phone muted and camera off. Are there any representatives of news media on Zoom?
There are not that I can see.
Recognizing there is no news media in attendance, the public will be moved into a separate breakout room for the duration of executive session. We will return to open session before taking any final action or making any final decisions. It is estimated that the board will return to public session at
Trampus or Kristen?
Probably Trampus might be a better.
I would say between a half an hour and 45 minutes.
All right, let's just make it easy math, and I'm going to say at 11.
Okay.
42 minutes.
That's perfect.
All right, at 11 a.m. Please be aware that it is possible that the board's executive session may last longer than 11 a.m. If the public has any questions about whether the board is still in executive session, the public can contact Josh Page at josh.page, P-A-G-E, at oha.oregon.gov. We are now in executive session. All right. The Long-Term Care Administrators Board will now exit executive session and reconvene open session at 12 o'clock p.m. on the dot. No final decisions were made and no votes were taken in executive session. The public will be moved from the breakout room back into the meeting, and representatives of the media may once again report all board discussions and actions.
So in case numbers 25-11545, 25-11546, 25-11547, 25-11548, 25-11549, 25-11550, 25-11551, 25-11552, 25-11553, 25-11554, 25-11555, 25-11556, 25-11557, 25-11558, 21-11559, 25-11560, and 25-11561. The board moves to assess a civil penalty of $500, suspend the respondent's residential care administrator licenses until the respondents provide documentation substantiating completion of the required continuing education for the audit period, place the respondent on probation through the next renewal with the condition that the respondent must renew by paper application and submit documentation of continuing education for that renewal cycle, assess against the respondent all the costs of disciplinary proceedings incurred by HLO up to $5,000, and authorize HLO to negotiate settlements if appropriate.
Is there a motion?
David Lewis, so move.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Wonderful. Well, this is Maggie Hilty, and I will call for a vote. Carol, on the ones that Trampus just covered. Carol Hankins?
Yay.
David Lewis?
Aye.
Drasti Patel?
Aye.
Jocelyn Cook?
Aye.
Emily Morgan,
Aye.
and Corey Chrisman. Corey, do we have you?
It looks like we may have lost them. I don't see them in the call.
Oh. Well, Maggie Hilty, aye, for the record. Do we have enough to vote without Corey?
Yes.
Okay. Then so moved.
All right.
Anne will tell me that's the wrong way to say it. Sorry, Anne.
No. All right. So
Maggie.
another motion in case number 2511653. The board moves to deny the respondent's license application, assess against the respondent all HLO costs of the disciplinary proceeding up to $5,000, and authorize HLO to negotiate a settlement if appropriate.
Carol Hankins, so moved.
Drosty Patel, second.
All right, we will now call for a vote. Carol Hankins.
Aye.
David Lewis.
Aye.
Drasty Patel.
Aye.
Jocelyn Cook.
Aye.
Emily Morgan.
Aye.
Corey Chrisman. Oh, should I stop calling him? I'm sorry. And Maggie Hilty. Aye.
All right. That motion carries as well. So in case number 23-10720, the board moves to close without action.
Carol Hankins, so moved.
David Lewis, second.
Wonderful. I will now call for a vote. Carol Hankins.
Aye.
David Lewis.
Aye.
Drasty Patel.
Aye.
Jocelyn Cook.
Aye.
Emily Morgan.
Aye.
Skip Corey. Maggie Hilty. Aye.
All right, that motion carries as well. In case number 24-11152, we move to close this case without action.
We will need a motion.
David Lewis, so move.
Drosty Patel, second.
All right, I will now call for a vote. Carol Hankins.
Nay.
David Lewis.
Aye.
Drasty Patel.
Aye.
Jocelyn Cook.
Aye.
Emily Morgan.
Aye.
And Maggie Hilty. Aye.
Campus, you're muted.
That motion carries as well. All right, I will turn it over to the chair to finish up with the meeting.
Is that it? We're done?
We have other board business.
Oh. Sorry, guys.
If there's anything.
I do not believe that HLO has any board business unless Anne has something that she needs to wrap up with the board.
No, I just wanted to reiterate that when this bill HB 4040 gets signed, we're going to have to do some slight rule tweaking, which will take place at the end of the year. If there is anything that occurs that you want to have added to the next round's agenda, or if you have any questions, you can reach out to me anytime. I know this meeting has gone on and you probably all need a break, but does anything leap to mind that you want to have added to the agenda next time?
Nothing comes to mind for the agenda. Will you do a quick reminder of when our next meeting is?
Yes, we certainly can. Now, I mean, if something comes up for regulatory, we will have an impromptu meeting. But right now, the next regularly scheduled meeting is on September 11th. And same day, on a Friday. And I will have the proposed rule bringing our residential care facility licensing requirements into alignment with House Bill 4040 and anything else that occurs between now and then.
Okay. Wonderful.
If there's nothing else, Chair, you can read us out.
All right. Well, have a wonderful Friday, everyone. The Long-Term Care Administrator Board meeting is adjourned at 12:08 p.m. Done.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.